You guys were all offended when she was talking about Kobe Bryant. Like, oh, too soon. Brian was making jokes about coronavirus earlier. That killed 1,300 people. That's like 150 helicopters full. No one cares about them because they're all in China, so all their daughters died years ago. In elementary school, I learned about the oceans of the world. You guys learned about the oceans? They had like the Pacific, the Atlantic, the Arctic, the Indian. I was online the other day. I was just fooling around. I found out there's 5 oceans now. Anybody hear about this? There's another ocean. The Southern Ocean. They added one. Like, why did we need another ocean? Why isn't there just one ocean? Are there different laws? Like, if you're in the Southern Ocean, you have to drive up to the Pacific to get your abortions. I lost my sense of smell in 2011. Ever since then, every girl I've dated has given me cologne for Christmas. Yeah, that sounds backwards, doesn't it? It's like the gift of the Magi. It's like she got me cologne, but I can't smell. I got her this coupon for a night of sensual lovemaking. Now she tells me she's only into women. Like, I just can't win. Remember before the information age, before the internet, you used to be able to talk to people and everyone could agree on what is and is not true? Like, there were just facts that were, agreeable. Like, nowadays, like, I can't even, I don't know, I ruled out getting into arguments online a long time ago, but now I have to get into explanations. It's like, so I feel like talking to someone online, I feel like a math teacher coming into the class. I'm like, the quadratic equation, negative b plus or minus square root of b squared, and then some kids in the back of the class like, that's gay! That shit's so gay! And then all the rest of the class agrees with him. Yeah, Mr. Bush, that shit is pretty fucking gay. And he wins the math test now. Your math teacher gets canceled, not because he was embezzling funds for the baseball team. What happened in my high school? Now when you introduce yourself to people, you tell them your name and you introduce your pronouns too, so they know like what your gender identification is. He, him, she, her. Whenever I introduce myself, I'm a total misogynist, so I always introduce myself as he, her, so everyone knows I objectify women. You learned the roots of that joke in high school. You should know what it means. When I was a kid, we didn't have all this stepsister porn. All we had were real sisters in years of inner turmoil. When I was younger, I'd be smoking weed like places. I'd be like at a party or in public somewhere. Every once in a while, an old man would make his way into the circle. He'd be smoking weed. Without fail, every single time the old man would say the same thing. He'd be like, wow, this weed is nothing like what I used to smoke when I was your age. Yeah, because people were doing selective breeding or whatever, it got a lot stronger. Now I'm the old man. I'm trying to do drugs with children. I find myself saying the same thing. Like, this is nothing like what I used to smoke. But what I mean is, this is a liquid in a glass tube. What the fuck happened to weed? It used to be like the most accessible thing. Like, I got this weed, but nothing to smoke it out of. I'll be a little engineer and I'll make something on myself. Now I can't smoke my weed until I find a USB port to plug it into. I didn't vote for that. What the hell's happening? If I can reverse engineer that, I got a job at NASA waiting for me. I don't like it. Oh, I'm getting old, guys. I found out how old I am yesterday. I was talking to my buddy. He was like, I had this story lined up on my Valentine's Day. I was going to tell him. He's telling me his story of his Valentine's Day. He went to this party in East Town, and like it was a good time. Everyone, all of a sudden, a fight broke out in the basement. He got punched in the face, and he's making fun of the guy punching him in the face. And then that guy runs upstairs, grabs a gun, starts shooting at the house. Like, this is true. This is what happened to his Valentine's Day. He's like, oh, I just thought it was fireworks going off, but this guy's shooting at us. He's like, what was your story? I'm like, I invented nacho pizza. There were no guns involved. Sorry. All right, my apartment's filthy. My roommate is a drummer in a rockabilly band. Yeah, so my apartment's fucking disgusting. Like, we got a cool place. Like, it's an open floor plan. Open beer bottles go on the floor. That's the plan. But it's disgusting. Like, the kitchen's filthy. I want to clean it. I can't even touch the bread because I'm allergic to penicillin. Smart people. The bathroom's disgusting. There's more hair in my bathroom sink than the last beef shawarma that I ordered. It's gross. I can't even bring girls over to my apartment, which is fine, because that's the first place the police are going to look anyway. I'm poor. I'm a poor person. I'm so poor, my life is disproportionately affected by the value of a pound of pork. It's true. Like, you hear Chinese trade war, I hear tacos al pastor. I swear to God, I've been eating off the same pork roast for the last 2 weeks. Oh yeah, I forgot the joke. Back it up. I've been eating off the same pork roast the last 2 weeks. I don't know anything about the Chinese zodiac, but 2019 was definitely the year of the pig for old J. Michael. Oh, that wasn't worth it. I'm poor, guys. I'm so poor. I donate plasma to supplement my income. I'm so poor, there are plasma centers I consider to be the bougie one. I know, if you're in the same boat as me, you know what I'm talking about. In Grand Rapids, you got two places. You got CSL and BioLife. I've been going to CSL. BioLife is like the Cobra Kai of plasma centers. They're in the nice part of town. They're across the street from an investment firm and stuff. CSL is in the same building as a used baby clothes store. That seems a little bit closer to what I'm thinking here. Selling my plasma for money, for Christ's sake. Like, I don't know, BioLife, it's such a welcoming facility. Like, they got a good, like, lights and full spectrum, like sunlight. You walk into CSL, it's like one incandescent bulb dangling from the ceiling. Like, I don't know if they're gonna test my blood or if I'm gonna get interrogated by a detective when I'm in here. It's like, are you a man who had sex with a man since 1980? Where were you the night of March 13th? I'm like, oh boy, I feel like I need a lawyer. You know I can't afford a lawyer? What's going on? All right. Well, that's my time, everybody. Thank you very much.
Like I said, I'm in college in my 5th year. I have roommates. Anyone here have roommates? Ooh, roommates. Yeah. One of my roommates. First of all, when you're a dude living with 3 other dudes, you kind of hear some questionable stuff and you see some questionable stuff, right? For example, my roommate Jacob. He came home recently with a girl, and I kind of assumed they were going to have sex. However, I did not assume I would have to go to sleep wearing headphones with my music on full volume. I saw Jacob the next day. I confronted him like, hey man, sounded like you had a pretty good night last night. He's like, oh wait, you heard that? I was like, well yeah. He's like, I thought my fan and music would muffle the sound of everything. I'm like, well, it didn't muffle the sound of your bong falling over. And her yelling, give me that ginger dick. He's a ginger, by the way. What? Yeah, newsflash. I'm gonna blame my other roommate Parker for this. There's what appears to be a booger on the wall inside our shower. It's not mine. And it's been there for about 2.5 months now. And no one's eaten it. You guys are disgusting. I don't know. My roommate Jacob, I got a few jokes about this guy. He's an interesting dude. He told me, might lose you guys on this one, but I don't really care. He told me that he didn't find out what 9/11 was. Really already, dude? Okay. He didn't find out what 9/11 was until he was in the 7th grade. We're both the same age. That means he would have been like 13, maybe 13 years old when he found out. You find out about so much other shit by the time you get to that age, you know? Maybe you hopefully find out Santa Claus isn't real. I don't know. Your balls start to drop. I don't know. I found out about 9/11 on 9/11. I was watching the footage on TV with my mom, and she told me years later that I apparently said, "Mommy, that guy should learn how to fly a plane better." Now I never forget. See, I like that joke because sometimes it lands. Sometimes it doesn't. And you guys were on board for it too.
Well, I actually just got married a couple of months ago. Which is pretty happy. She's cool, so that worked out well. I still haven't gotten used to the ring though. Like it's still, I'm not a jewelry person. It's just, it feels awkward, you know? Doesn't it? It just seems a little loud to me. Doesn't it? Just kind of, just feels loud. But I think that's what the ring is supposed to be for the dude. Like I think it serves a different function. For me, the ring is supposed to just be something that's uncomfortable. So every once in a while, I look down and I'm like, oh yeah. I married her ass. I should not let any bartenders touch my dick, that's for sure. That's what it does for me. Like for my wife, it's something different entirely. For my wife, it's, you know, sometimes every dude who looks at it and goes, oh, then looks at the ring and goes, oh. That's what, it's just this little thing on a ringer that lets everybody in the entire world know I got dibs. That's, we did the whole party, we got everyone we know together, I stood before him and I was like, dibs, everyone dibs. We're gonna try to have a sleepover forever now, okay? I like being married. It's interesting, I've noticed, like there's nothing that's ever changed someone's belief system, just a complete 180. Then when I got married, affecting my parents' beliefs about me having undetected sex. Because that was just a real quick 180. Like growing up, my parents were very conservative. They sent me to a Christian school out of the western suburbs of Chicago called Timothy Christian School for Virgins. I did very well there. You know how sometimes you get like really nice olive oil? It's not even just, it's extra virgin. That was me. It's not a good show. Just picture this, but like 30 pounds fatter, with acne and braces and a bowl cut that I gelled straight down. Oh yeah. I look like what I might appear behind you if you said the word celibacy 3 times in the mirror. Some local legend, girls would talk about it at sleepovers. No, I said it and he came. And then he asked me if I wanted to see his Pokemon cards. So luckily, like, I didn't need the sex. I didn't need to choose abstinence. Abstinence chose me. My mom would like try to make me feel better, you know. But no, sweetie, you're beautiful. You just don't photograph well. My mom would look me in the eyes and say this, as if she didn't just call me ugly. No, sweetie, that's not you. Those exact replicas of your face, those are shit. Stay away from cameras and mirrors, you'll be fine. But yeah, now that I'm married, like it's just the complete opposite, where it's just my mom doesn't even need, she's gotten so good about asking if my wife is pregnant yet, she doesn't even need to say anything. Like we'll show up at their house, get out of the car, and she'll just be standing there. So, any miracles, Durable? Did you make me a baby? Your babies are like Coke for grandmas, man. Anytime they're around, is that a baby? Let me have it, let me hold it, let me smell it. More. It's weird though, for me, I guess like my wife, she wants to start trying soon too, which I think is a really big undertaking on her part, because not only does she have to give birth, but she has to give birth to my baby. And as my mother has told her on multiple times, I was not an easy birth, which is, it's a different feel when that story gets told when you're not an easy birth, like I'm not the hero of my birth story, like I'm not the Gandalf or the Strider or even the Frodo or the Samwise goddamn Gamgee. I'm the ring, this horrible burden that has to be endured for past mistakes. It's just a terrible thing. Some babies get to be the heroes of their own birth story, right? Like those premature babies. They're brave, right? They're survivors, They get to be the heroes of their birth story. My sister, like she wasn't even really premature, She was just early, She was too stupid to know when to be born. That's what she was. And they're like, now she's being, no. Okay, I'm doing it now. But you hear my mom tell that story, she's like, oh, she was a little angel came down, and she was just so excited to get living. She was just a little bit early. And she wasn't quite ready yet, so she was born with a little hole in her heart. But we just filled that hole with extra love. My mom tells my birth story like she's reading a fucking Stephen King novel. The air was sticky on the western side of Chicago in the great heat wave of '88. Yeah, I was not an easy baby. And she'll start the story the same way when she does tell it. She'll get all serious and she leans in and she starts it. You ruined me. And I did. I absolutely did, for sure. Like I was 2 weeks overdue. I was born in the middle of the heat wave. After 26 hours of labor, I was finally born weighing 10 pounds, 3 ounces. That's not a baby, that's a fucking bowling ball. To be clear, that is a bowling ball that is too heavy for my mom to use for a 10-frame game, let alone carry around for 2 extra weeks and then push out through her genitals. And then she has to bake me a cake for the rest of my life to celebrate the occasion.
Clap. Anybody in here online dating? You lying assholes. All right, wait, hold on. Like 2 people clapped. I know one of them was just doing it for support. It's like, oh, the poor guy. I pay $50 a year and they made $2 billion in 2019. So somebody in here's lying. But I did it, and I get why there's like a negative stereotype around online dating. I felt that way too. But I gotta tell you guys, I don't do it anymore because I realize I can get my sadness for free. But when I joined, I absolutely understood why the online dating is so successful. It wasn't for me. I think it was meeting your soulmate that I kind of stumbled on. You guys don't make fun of gingers around here? I know that not to be true. Come on. But the point is, I know why they're so successful. It's because of the technology, right? For those of you who don't know, I did Match.com. And I encourage every single person in here to go on there and do a Match.com profile. Like, do it tomorrow. Even if you're not single, go on there like with your partner and set up a joint account. It's fine. Not to be like weird, but just to see the technology. For those of you that don't know, if you remember back in the 90s, some of you that are like my age, there was a very helpful on Microsoft Word. Yeah, you remember this guy? There was this little, like you could be on Microsoft Word and just be staring at a blank canvas, right? And just type in one letter and here would come this little paperclip dude on a bicycle. Just rolling on out of nowhere, right? And he just, hey there, John. Looks like you're trying to write a resume. Would you like some help? You're like, oh yeah! He would go to orientation for you, take your first 2 weeks. It was awesome. Well, for those of you who don't know, over at Match.com, they got Clippy now, right? And I was astonished because I went on there, I invested a few hours to building my profile, I got some cool pictures and a backstory on there, had it all ready to go. So then I went out and went shopping, or whatever they call it. And I found a profile of a woman that it seemed like we had a lot in common. And even though it's online, it's still very intimidating. when you got to send that first message, right? That you're staring at that little blank message box for a while. So I was staring there for a few seconds trying to figure out something clever and, like interesting to say. And out of nowhere, here comes Clippy on his little bicycle, right? I'm like, oh my God, right? Like, what button did I hit? And he looks at me and goes, hey there, John. Looks like you're trying to lie to a woman. Would you like some help? Yes! And I'm not advocating that you should lie. Like, if you're in a relationship, you should be very honest. That's the foundation of a good relationship. But that's once you're in a relationship, right? Like, when you meet somebody for the first time, it's not that you have to lie, but you certainly don't need to be totally honest, right? And that's the problem I have. I'm trying to be too honest. Like, I would love to have Clippy along for the ride sometimes. Like last summer, I was actually in Nashville, Tennessee. I did a great show in front of like a packed room like this. And after the show, this woman came up to me. She's like, you were really funny. She's like, I just want to let you know that I think funny men are very sexy and I'm newly single. I'm like, oh my God! And then she got close, and you guys, at the time, I had like 6 stitches on my forehead too, right? Like, badass! And she looked at me and she's like, oh, I see you have some stitches as well. She's like, are you a funny, sexy, dangerous man? Did you get in a bar fight after a comedy show? Dangerous, sexy, funny man. I was like, no, I got up off the toilet too quickly. I just stood right up. Yeah. Got a little lightheaded. I passed out, hit my head on the sink on the way down. Was laying there bleeding all over the linoleum. Honestly, if my mom had to come down and do some laundry, I might have died. So see you later then, Kelly? All right, been nice talking. But, and that's like, a lot of people for the holidays, a lot of you might have gotten as a gift those like Alexa or Google Home Assistant things. Those are wonderful pieces of technology, but I think we need to take the Clippy concept a little further. I'd like to have Clippy as like a little virtual Jiminy Cricket that would just pop up on my shoulder. Like, I don't even want to have control over him. I just want him to be on dumbass demand, right? Like, he just knows something dumb's about to happen, and he pops out and just dives in front of the bullet, right? I would have loved to have him on Friday when I was doing a show for Valentine's Day down in Kentucky, just to pop out after the show in that dark alley and be like, hey there, John. Looks like you're about to pay $200 for an ounce of oregano. Would you like some help? Yeah. Woo! I'll give you $150, not a penny more. All right. Come on, Clippy, let's go smoke this oregano. So I am, like I said, I'm still single. I tried the dating stuff, and it's a whole different world than what I was used to. I'm 42, so 20 years ago in my early 20s, we didn't have any of that online dating and stuff like that. It was a different experience, so I've had to adjust, right? So being single, it's changed over the years, as I mentioned. And here, like for those of you who don't know, back when I was in my early 20s, the late 90s, the early 2000s, they didn't have like Facebook or things like that where you could get someone's name and get a lot of background information on them right away, right? What you had to do back in the day is if you were out in a place like this as a guy and you saw a woman you were attracted to, at some point you had to walk over there and approach her and, start to say, break the ice and just start to hit on her. And obviously she wouldn't be interested, so you would start to hit on her less attractive friend, which was really the plan all along. But you can't go right up to the one you want, right? That's a break in protocol. Yeah, absolutely. So I was out one night when I was 22, and I saw a woman, I started talking to a friend. We hit it off, Jessica and I did, right? She was great. And so then what you did as a guy, if you thought you had a chance, you'd be like, hey, you'd slide her that little pen and piece of paper, right? And say, hey, can I get your phone number? Yeah, there's no, who are you? No, your phone number. I'll use my flip phone to call you later, right? And if you were really lucky, and see the thing is, you might think that was, if you don't know that you were in at that point. No, that was just the first hurdle. Because there was still a 50-50 chance later that night, the next day, you were going to call that phone and get that voicemail and say, we're sorry, she's not actually interested in you. This is the fake hang-up voicemail, blah, blah, blah. It was just some bullshit. Yeah, you ladies, you sons of bitches. I heard that too many times. But the point is, if you got
got the right phone number, then you had to go through that phone call etiquette. And again, to get the background information, you just had to spend time with the person, either talking to them or in person. So it was a different experience, and it wasn't bad or worse, but it allowed for some pratfalls that they don't have now, right? And one that happened to me, I was at 22, I got Jessica's number, and we hung out a few times, and it was about the third date, which basically Jessica invited me over to a party at her house. And she invited me to bring some friends so that maybe we could get friends acquainted with other friends, and maybe this was going somewhere. We kind of liked each other, right? So I'm over at the party. I managed to get one of my friends, Brian, to come along. And towards the end of the night, it's just myself, Jessica, and Brian. I'm sitting next to her on one couch. He's sitting on another one. Now, we're not doing anything weird. We're just kind of talking. And again, I don't know if I mentioned this earlier, but I'm a baller. I had a flip phone, state of the art, right? And so, yeah, I'm looking at it, just like, hey, check it out. And Jessica's like, oh, new phone. I'm like, yeah, you want to look at it? And she's looking at it. And Brian's being very polite, just watching TV, until Jessica looks at my phone and goes, hey, why does this say Jay Hauser on it? And I'm like, that's my email address. She's like, I know, stupid, but why is your email address Jay Hauser? I said, oh. Third date, I guess it's about that time. Hi, my name's John Hauser. My last name is Hauser. And she looks at me and goes, really? I'm like, yeah. She goes, well, that's my name too. Remember my friend Brian? He's paying attention to something. At this point, he's close enough right next to me that I could see in my side eye, he's just, I'm sorry, what the fuck just happened over here? And I don't know I can think on my feet, I'm a pretty clever guy, but at that moment, you guys, my brain had nothing at all. Total panic mode, I just looked at her and went, bullshit! I just tried to call bullshit on her God-given surname, right? Like, no way in hell. This is where it gets weird. Yeah, now, Jessica goes, okay, hands me my phone back, calmly gets up and walks down the hallway of her house, takes a picture frame off the wall, walks back into the room, sits down, and places the picture frame on my lap. Ladies and gentlemen, it is a framed and notarized copy of her birth certificate. This is the audience participation part of the show. I tell this all over the country, and I guarantee I'm going to get the same response I've always gotten 100% of the time. I want you to clap or make as much noise as you possibly can, if and only if you have ever even heard of someone hanging their goddamn birth certificate on a frame on the wall. One, you've been to my show before. Okay, cool, thank you. Saving that. What kind of lunatic, right? So now, if you thought I was panicking before, I'm like, oh, fuckles. Okay, I don't know what to do, right? I'm just trying to panic because I know my friend is watching. And this is, folks, I've never, believe it or not, besides, aside from what it looks like, I've never actually been a professional boxer, okay? So I never really understood until that moment what it meant to actually get, like they say, like a punch, I've seen where a boxer could get hit, and you could tell he's knocked out, but he just he stays up and just keeps going, right? I've never understood how you can be out on your feet. And at this moment, I was out on my feet, because at that point, I was going for everything. I was just knocked out. I was like, bullshit, no, okay. I'm like, oh, it's spelled different. No, God damn it, it's the same. So we started talking for a while. As it turns out, we couldn't connect the dots, where there was no grandfathers, nothing like that. But we didn't date after that. I left, and then it was not until 45 minutes later where my brain snapped back to attention, where we're driving home in the car, and my buddy's like, man, that was pretty fucked up. I'm like, I know, right? And he goes, I gotta say though, man, I really expected at some point for you to tell her that you were adopted. And I was like, son of a bitch, I totally forgot! I forgot I was adopted for 22 years. That's the only thing I knew that was constant about. I fucking forgot for 45 minutes. Imagine if you'd been trained by the CIA and spent your entire life trying to hunt down Hitler, and after 22 years of searching, you just blindly turn into an alley and catch him with his dick out. And then the next day you have to report to your boss and tell him the mission failed because even though you met your objective exactly as you had planned for, you forgot you had a fucking gun. Right? That chapter in my presidential biography is not going to be titled "The Day John Became an American Hero." All right? Thank you guys so much. That's my time. I'm John Hauser. Keep it going for Brian. Thank you.